You are listening to The Robert Scott Bell Show.
These days, it's more important than ever to know where our food and supplements come from. That's why at Plus CBD Oil, we believe it is critical to manage every step of the supply chain process. It all starts with certified hemp seeds. Our hemp grows tall, like bamboo, and is harvested within 3 months. After harvest, the hemp is dried and sent to our CO2 extraction facility, where our raw formula is extracted. The extracted oil is then lawfully imported to our state-of-the-art in-house laboratory in San Diego, California. There, we convert our raw formula into our total plant complex and gold formula oils. Our oils are then used to formulate our award-winning Plus CBD oil product line. The products are then tested for cannabinoid content and the absence of harmful substances. But we go one step further. We then send our products to a third-party laboratory to verify concentration, quality, and safety. After that, the products have finished their journey and are ready to be shipped to your local health food store. Because at Plus CBD Oil, we believe how you do anything is how you do everything. That's why, from seed to shelf, we are committed to providing safe and effective hemp CBD products for you and your loved ones. It's our promise to you. Learn more about our commitment to full traceability at pluscbdoil.com.
The Robert Scott Bell Show.
I listen to get accurate, up-to-date information.
I've learned so much from him.
It is awesome. It's the best entertainment that I've found.
You rock the health world. Keep it up. I love you.
Now, the voice of health, freedom, and liberty, here's Robert Scott Bell.
No, don't turn the camera. Oh, man, the camera's on. I'm here, and I have to do a show. I'm not ready. I barely got home. What a crazy weekend. That was the most awesome weekend of many weekends spent at things like expos that are dedicated to health, freedom, healing, liberty. And this was one for the record books. This is one for the history books to record. The Advanced Medicine Conference just transpired over the weekend, Memorial Day weekend in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I'll see if I'm functional enough to try and speak to you without slurring my words. Honest ossifer, I haven't been drinking. Well, actually I have. I've got my yerba mate. My wife just made me some mate with organic peppermint. That should wake me up a little bit to make it through today's show. I only asked of Super Don one thing, and he didn't do it. One thing. You had one job, Super Don. What was that? Tell everybody what was your one job today. What was it?
I tried to get you a guest today for hour 2.
Yes. How did it work out?
Everybody I contacted couldn't do it. So,
but people love you. They should just say yes
to
you.
They love me, but they weren't willing to cancel their airplane flight to make it happen. So,
look, I was on an airplane flight or two. Which,
by
the way.
Yeah.
I wore the Self-reliance mask on the way there, and y'all go. God, reach for this. Self-relianceglobal.com. All right, there's the pillow. That's what we use. But they now have the mask. A lot of you have ordered it. If you have to, I don't want you to have to wear it. But as I said, if you have to wear a mask, I want you to wear one infused with silver and or copper to protect yourself, because the harm to you from wearing the mask is very real. So wore it on there. I didn't want to at all. Because just on principle, I didn't want to wear the mask. But it was the first time on a flight. Didn't want to create too much of a ruckus. There was a lot riding on this event this past weekend, the Advanced Medicine Conference. Let's see. Are the show notes up as well? I haven't even seen them.
Yeah.
They are?
Yes.
See, I still have Thursday's show notes from when I left town, just to show you how far behind I am.
It's what you mean that's showing up on the website?
Well, that's just because I haven't refreshed the page. I was like, I hardly had any time to prep for today's show, and here I am whining and complaining. You should play me the world's smallest violin. Here it is. I'm going to show everybody the show notes. It looks like we've got, that is appropriate, the image there. I was going to take away the S from Super Don just because he couldn't find me a guest in hour 2, but he did find a perfect image, a mask. We're going to go into science limits, Merck jumping into the race. Which race? Vax trial catastrophe, COVID passes, biometric data. I've been warning y'all. CDC failures, of which there are many. Zinc and copper question, COVID quarrels, and rediscovering self-reliance, and more. And as I said, I think I'm going to play, if Super Don, I think you've got it wound up. I'm just figuring out where in the conversation today. Come on. Oh, yeah, now you come back? Really? All right, let me bring Super Don back into the mix here. What happens if I do this? There you are. I was thinking of all the things that could happen today is as I want to talk about something I feel so important and passionate about, and it just no, censorship time.
You just completely left me on a cliffhanger there. I was just like, huh?
I don't even know where I left off. I just looked and I saw the red stop sign with the cross through it.
You were talking about when you weren't quite sure when you were going to want to play that video.
Okay. All right. So I will say this. I am not averse to walking into a situation and doing something with spontaneity. In fact, you know me, Super D. It's kind of my briar patch. I can do that. But I always find it funny with our buddy Dr. Rashid Buttar, because you get to somewhere and there's a lot left for, let's just say, the ethers to figure out, and I happen to be able to make it here, thank goodness, to kind of hold things together in the way I do. Not, again, saying it in an ego way, just saying, hey, it's how I put myself out there to help when needed. And so this video we will play, it was about that. It's like I didn't even know I'm opening the whole thing just to kind of get things going while we were getting the AV equipment moving and everything.
And let's just, for the folks that didn't happen to catch the videos that you did on Facebook that might be watching right now or listening right now.
Yeah.
Let's rewind just a minute, because this is a great story, and I'd love to hear it from you here live on the show. Mm-hmm. When you got to the event center there, to the Embassy Suites.
Yeah.
What did you see when you walked in? What was the situation, and how did that evolve, and what happened that changed the whole situation there?
Well, we got in late Friday night, so there wasn't anything obvious there other than what we had heard from Dr. Buttar, that, hey, there's a lot of forces working to stop this conference from happening. Right. There was a lot of controversy over the governor of North Carolina stating that, yes, North Carolina is open for business partially, and that conference events could happen at 50% capacity, or restaurants 50% capacity. But they also said if you're having a conference, only 10 people in a room, but they said exceptions to that limit, and you could do 50% capacity, was if it was a conference about health and safety. And I think we met both those marks in spades. So I had the governor's proclamation executive order with me that next morning as I was called by Dr. Buttar. Hey, can you get downstairs? They're not letting anybody in. Now, Dr. Buttar was still in his room getting ready for the event. And I'm like, oh, what? They're not letting anybody in? So I don't know what I'm going down into at that point Saturday morning. And there were videos on multiple platforms. People have been sending them in, posting them. I don't know that they've been censored. But it was a blockade. Let's just call it what it was, a blockade, Super Don. And they had set tables out. They blocked anybody. And so there was a huge gathering of hotel guests that were primarily there for the Advanced Medicine Conference. Showed up not knowing if they would be able to have a conference, but they showed up. They paid. They were at the hotel. They were inside already. It's a big open atrium lobby. I walked and I saw that they had set up 3 or 4 different rooms with 10 chairs in them. Imagine 4 different big ballrooms with a screen at the front and audio visual equipment and 10 chairs in that whole room. And they're all facing different directions so nobody breathes too closely or in the direction of anybody else. I'm not kidding you. This is so absurd. And so I was like, this is not going to work. We've got clearly, 200 plus people. I didn't know how many at that point. And so I was confronted at that point. And my buddy and Dr. Buttar's right-hand guy, Sal, was out there. And I go out there, and there's police out to the back. There's security for the hotel there. The tables are blocking the entrance. People are wondering, what is going on? Can we come in? We're here for the conference. They're not letting anybody in unless they're a hotel guest. And I talked to, the hotel staff and security. I was like, what's going on? Oh, well, the governor says we can't have this event. What do you mean the governor says that? I don't understand. Here's the information. It says we can. Oh, no, that's not right. And I read them the exact words with the exceptions. Oh, no, that's a misinterpretation. It's like, how do you misinterpret unless it's a seminar or a conference for health and safety? This is about both of those things. And it was like, no, there's something going on. It's very wrong here. And so I could feel tension mounting. And I don't have that video. And maybe one of you out there does and have posted it, because I don't remember what I said. It's one of those moments among many that I like to have where I step out of my own way. And I just start talking to the crowd, knowing that the hotel staff and their security are standing right next to me, and have people turn to prayer. And I said, please pray. Please send your love and support. And these gentlemen next to me, the security and the hotel people saying we can't come in, please don't hate on them. Don't send them any ill will. Send them your love and support, because this is a great and important mission to open up this country. And I believe I talked about the absurdity of making it a crime, as you've heard me say, to breathe in America without a mask. And I spoke of the heart of healing and the spirituality associated with what we're doing if we don't allow this event to happen. And so that stage is set in some way, shape, or form. And I don't know. I mean, honestly, it was just calling in the Spirit. And those of you know that you might call the Spirit something else. That's fine. That's fine. And then, as Sal and I are talking, trying to figure this thing out, Dr. Buttar comes down. And he is in full battle mode, because that's Dr. Buttar. He's a military special forces Army guy, and on top of being a physician and everything else. And his conference is about to be shut down before it even begins. And so I get where he's coming from. And there's some kind of bumping event with the big security guard who is wearing a face mask. And it gets very intense. I mean, we're talking nose to nose what's happening there. And it could have gone a different way. I was right there next to Dr. Buttar, and the escalated tensions eased down in a moment, but it was very close to being not so nice. Police would have been, and the police were starting to get very interested, because it looks like there's a fight might happen. And of course, the message is this is really ultimately a message of love. Let's let the Spirit flow through. Let's find another way. And in retrospect, I look back at that moment, and I think, Super D, this was honest. This is my interpretation. And any of you were there, you tell me what you think. Get back to me on this. That, as I've said, we have to show that we're willing to engage in battle, so that battle is not necessary. What have I said about if they come to you and they say, well, what if they make me get vaccinated? It's like, wait a second. If they make you get a vaccine, that means you didn't defend yourself. You didn't let them know and put them on notice that they are going to be at risk for their own health and safety should they try to attempt to violate your life, liberty, and property and medically rape you with a syringe. And so, in retrospect, I see what Dr. Buttar did, and it put them on notice that we are very serious about this. This is not just something we're going to roll over and you can roll right over us because we're intimidated by you, that we're afraid of you. Even though, as we heard, the governor or the governor's office had made numerous calls to the hotel itself to say, do not let this event occur. I want you to think about that. We're now up against the highest official in that state. And so at this point, the de-escalation occurs. The police officer, nice man who was there a little bit on our behalf, comes out with us and the hotel manager trying to figure this thing out. And we're going again. The executive order says specifically there's an exemption or exception for conferences that are about health and safety. No, it doesn't say that. It's right here in black. I had it in my hand showing that. No, that's a wrong interpretation. Again, back to stalemate. And I'm just, everybody's now praying. You can feel spirit moving. I don't know what's happening. We're trying to figure this thing out. And then at some point, one of us, and I honestly don't know who at this point because it was so surreal. It was like being in a movie. You just walked into a movie, but it was real, what was happening. And somewhere in that moment, we look into this hotel, and in the whole atrium, right inside the door, there's probably 70 to 100 people bunched all together, not wearing masks. And I'm thinking, wouldn't that be a violation? No, that's kind of what well, apparently, there's no regulation about open atriums in hotels.
That's awesome.
So, hey, why don't we just move everybody into the open atrium of a hotel? Would that be okay? And to his credit, the manager of the hotel that had been basically blockading us because he was told, don't let him, called whoever the owner was or one of the owners. And I'm thinking, I don't think that guy's going to back down on that. That's just my negative moment, right? Like, that's a great idea, but, are they going to back down now? And sure enough, within a few minutes, he says, okay, we can do that. And it was like, some people describe it, the Red Sea parted. You're like, this is happening. The doors, we can come in. The doors are open. And there's a great picture of Dr. Buttar and Sal, and I'm right walking in behind them where it's starting to open. There's a big smile on Dr. Buttar's face. And it was like the energy just flowed in. And everybody started streaming. They said they would limit it to like 210 people or something like that. And we said, fine, let's do it. Let's move on. And before they changed their mind, everybody streamed in, started finding the places and spaces. And God bless the AV team from Oz. The Wizard of Oz. They were Oz. That was the name of the company. And they began working diligently in the next 45 minutes to reset all of their AV equipment that was set up in those rooms and pull it out to the main atrium in the lobby of that hotel. And so we were, I think that what this video is that we're going to show you was me stalling for time, buying time while they were almost ready. Because we were now starting a little bit late and getting the speakers all set up. And so Nia Peoples was there, a great friend of Dr. Buttar. And now I can say a great friend of mine. I will tell you Nia Peoples' stories. She's amazing. Absolutely a heart of gold. Just so impressed with her. I met her last year at the Advanced Medicine Conference. We talked a little bit, but didn't get to connect as well as we did this time. And quite an extraordinary one. What a story in her life. And many of you may know of Nia Peoples from Fame, the TV show, and any number of movies and television. I mean, she's and singing and all kinds of stuff. So she's a wonderful, wonderful one. And she's not part of the negative Hollywood crazy stuff. She, by some miracle, was able to make it through. And I'll tell some stories about it. Or we'll get her on the show again. But her Sunday broadcast with me was really a great interview. I loved it. So we are now at the point where we have made it in, and the transition is happening. I'm thinking, all right, we're in. Now, a shorter version, which was fascinating to me, is that all of the hotel staff were wearing masks throughout the event. First day, mask everywhere. By the time the end of the second day hit and the third day, which didn't happen, but we were there on day 3, we noticed that none of the hotel staff were wearing masks. After seeing 250 plus people enmeshed in like an advanced medicine mosh pit, in the atrium of the Embassy Suites there. And all of the talk, the doctors, the PhDs, the crazy homeopaths, and on, talking about the science as well of what's gone on, much less the danger of masks to the mask wearer. By most of the second day, but third day when everyone was done, we were all looking around in amazement. The staff were not wearing masks. And interestingly enough, on Memorial Day, Super Don, there was I don't know if it was a recruiting event, but there was a military event in the hotel. And a bunch of young people that I think were just being enlisted were all wearing masks, getting COVID tests in the same hotel that we had just done that conference. So they were not there, and they were completely clueless. So it was like this artificial reality, in a sense, we created of people that were not afraid, were not wearing masks, and then the day after the conference is done, the hotel's not wearing, the staff's not saying, I don't need to do that. In fact, somebody sent me a message that while Dr. Buttar was speaking his final talk, she was watching one of the hotel people that was still wearing a mask through his talk, just lower it a little bit. By the time it was over, it was like under the chin. Yeah. And
interesting.
And so the great danger of this conference was not that anybody would get sick. It was that anybody would figure via looking at these people all congregated closely together, having no fear, laughing, hugging, loving, touching, shaking hands, that could be possible. And within how many weeks has it become almost normal and expected to see people in masks? And suddenly we had this event, the only event, Super Don, I think in the whole nation, only medical event of its kind, of any kind. And in North Carolina, certainly we were. There was no other event because they were all being blocked. Rumor has it, of course, the Democratic governor of North Carolina did not want this event to go on. Primarily, there might be other reasons, but primarily so that a precedent wouldn't be set, so that he could stand his ground to say, you know what, for health and safety reasons, we can't have the RNC here in Charlotte with a full house. You're going to have to do it digitally by Zoom or partial capacity, but no, not even 50%, right?
Didn't want to set any kind of precedence, right?
Right, and of course what we did was we blew that up. Because we set precedent. We had an event in North Carolina, 250 people in close quarters for 2 days plus, and nobody got sick. Everybody was fine. And the message to the world for those who tuned in is, we opened America. And if it isn't opening all of America state by state, city by city, county by county, it is opening the eyes, the ears, the heart, the consciousness to say, did I see what I just saw? Like the messages I received on Saturday when I was doing some posts on Facebook Live and things, where people were seeing this, which we're going to show you in a moment, and they would say how amazing and how refreshing it is to see people together sitting and laughing and no masks. That is a shocking revelation to those who thought it couldn't be done. That it can't be done, that it was impossible, or that it is impossible. And once again, we participated to show you that the impossible just takes a little bit more effort or a little bit of getting out of the way, because there was prayer involved and divinity involved, even though there was a willingness to go into battle if necessary. And I know Dr. Buttar would have done it and gone to jail if he had to for the cause. Wasn't necessary because we were all there, and it all worked ultimately beautifully, orchestrated from above or from within. No script that I was aware of, and I walked right into that unbeknownst to me. But I had felt in the days coming up, especially that Wednesday, Super D, when we had Dr. Buttar on, and I saw the sabotage that was taking place live on the air. We were witnessing it and identifying
it was happening,
and pointing it out to what exactly was happening, which was confirmed. I knew that we had to do this. And the people that came, this was not like any other event, because the people who came did not know whether the event was going to happen, yet they came anyway of their own expense, time, and they could have come and nothing would have transpired. No event. And vendors who spend a lot of time, energy, and money to bring all their stuff in to be an exhibitor showed up as well. And they got the message too. So this was kind of like, remember Close Encounters of the Third Kind with Richard Dreyfuss?
Mm-hmm.
the scene when he had made it all the way to Devil's Tower, Wyoming, and a bunch of other people did, and they were being evacuated. They were on the helicopter. They were wearing their safety goggles, masks, breathers, because the air was poisoned. You remember that? The cows had died. You watched everywhere.
Right.
And of course, it was sprayed by the government to make it look as if it was a real event. So they didn't want anybody to know what was really going on. And then Richard Dreyfuss took a leap of faith, and he took his mask off and he goes, breathe in suddenly. And he found that the air, just as he suspected, the air was clean. Everything was fine. And it was, to me, very much an event like that took place, that people witnessed it, that we had all taken off our masks, breathed deeply, and found out that the air was fine. It was always fine. And that what we are witnessing clearly, plainly, and simply is an attack on freedom, yes. But an attack in terms of a geopolitical strategy. No strategy has worked thus far to remove Donald Trump from office or to curtail his reelection bid to be president of the United States once again for a second term. The only way they saw it, because the Russia hoax, the Ukraine hoax, the Steele document, all of that, then leading to what? What was the next phase of this? Everything failed. Mueller failed. And then they were left with what? We've got to collapse the Trump economy. How is this going to be done? Whether you believe the COVID-19 story is real, fake, imagined, exaggerated, or anything in between, never let a good crisis go to waste. So I won't go into the speculation on my belief on any of those things I said preceding it, but I will say what they have done is taken that opportunistically and massaged it into destroy the U.S. economy at all costs, because we can't have Trump, the not globalist, reelected. The guy who says America first, he cannot be reelected because globalists from both the Democrat and Republican parties never wanted Trump in there. He was not supposed to be there. There was some intervention on some other level. And so this is what this is, including the democratically controlled states in America, Super Don, in my humble opinion, and I do believe I am right, are dragging their feet on reopening with the hopes that they can sabotage the economy or whatever and blame it on Trump, when I think it's going to spring back badly on them as it becomes more and more obvious. And we have stories today to show you how right I am and we are and have been about the scientific hoax that has been perpetrated upon us all. Whether you believe the virus is real or not, doesn't matter. The science about it is completely inferior to what I would call legitimate science at any level, remedial even. The scientists and doctors who jumped on this should be embarrassed based on all of the tests themselves. So we'll get to that.
You want to see a good example of that?
Yes, I would.
Let me throw in a tweet that I saw over the weekend.
Okay.
I love this one. I don't know who Nick Rizzuto is.
Mm-hmm. New York City is allowing you to hang out on the beaches but not swim. California is allowing you to swim but not hang out on the beaches. Both claim science is guiding their policies. Yeah. You're right.
What's wrong with this picture, right?
That's what we're dealing with here. And story after story that you've submitted today, and this is where I may lean on you, or I might get a second wind. I'll tell you what happened. I know we're almost at the bottom of the hour break, but Friday night, we're there very late. We got in very late. Saturday, I'm doing so much stuff to be, keeping the thing, a little bit of MCing with Nia Peoples and all of the stuff that I'm doing. And I say I have to also record for Sunday's broadcast on Saturday, which we did, a great interview with Nia. And then I still needed to work on my PowerPoint. For the Saturday, I was the first up on Sunday morning at the event. So I was up late and I was just losing my mind. I didn't get much sleep the previous night. And I'm like, oh, this is not going to bode well. I can't continue. So I went to bed not having completed it, setting my alarm to get up hopefully early enough, but also I needed sleep so desperately that it probably wasn't enough time. And I woke up at least an hour earlier without my alarm clock, and I sprung out of bed, and I'm like, dude, I feel great. I don't know why I shouldn't, but I feel awesome. I started doing push-ups. I put on my workout clothes. I went to the workout center that wasn't open because of COVID crazy. So I went outside the hotel and nobody was up. The sun was just coming up, and I started doing sprints and jumping jacks in the parking lot. And I felt even better. And so then I go back in, hit the shower, come out, and finish my PowerPoint. And it was great. It was awesome. I couldn't, and I didn't shower first. In fact, I just went right into, I was so pumped out. I just did the thing. And then I went down, gave them the thumb drive so the AV people had it in time. Then I went up, showered, changed, and got down there and did the thing. And there were so many things like that I know my body. I know its limits. I know what kind of sleep I need. I know the hardship of traveling cross country and not sleeping the night before and then the second. Nothing made sense in terms of physiological realities except that this event had to happen. And Spirit was going to make sure it did, and it supported me and all of my efforts to be there and do what I do. And many others had similar experiences. That I'm doing the show today, I can't explain because we didn't need to, but it's me. As Super Don says, you don't have to worry yourself out. I thought, well, I took the day off yesterday, Super Don. I had to do today. I could not do it, and I got here in time. Having slept 2.5 hours, yes, getting up at equivalent of 2 a.m., now the time zone I'm in, and flying and then getting here. And here we are. So what I think we're going to do, unless you have a better idea, we'll get into some of the stories, but I want to share with you the opening of the Advanced Medicine Conference. It's kind of me stalling the opening as all the transition was happening to start the event with Nia Peoples at the beginning. Should we take the bottom of the hour break and then play it, or should we play it and then take the bottom
why
of the
don't
hour
we
break?
take the quick bottom of the hour break and then we'll come in with the video. How's that
okay.
sound?
All right, y'all. I don't know who's here. If anybody's here watching or listening, I'm just amazed that I am here. I could be talking to just Super Don right now, and it'd be okay. Letting it out. Hopefully this is helpful to you. We got a lot more broadcast healing of the Robert Scott Bell Show variety. You know what I'm talking about. Go to robertscottbell.com. You'll see the show notes and all of the links. And I didn't even open it all the way, but I'll click it now, and we'll come back with that, and I'll show you the opening 10 minutes of the Advanced Medicine Conference, me in almost surreal disbelief at what had just happened, trying to put semblance to it and words to it in that moment. So with that, we'll take a moment and say thanks to our friends at Trinity School of Natural Health. trinityschool.org.
For thousands of years, the iris has been examined to determine potential deficiencies and health issues in the body. Every human optic nerve contains between 800,000 to 1.7 million nerve fiber endings. These nerves connect our eyes to the brain and continue down our spinal cord, connecting to every organ and gland in our body. This course utilizes the iridology chart developed by Bernard and Ellen Jensen, which tells us what markings in the iris may be pointing to issues in certain organs or glands. In this course, you will learn how to identify the genetic strengths and weaknesses with organs, glands, and tissues, tendencies towards tissue irritation and inflammation, how to find the potential ability of an organ's reaction to the presence of illness, discernment of familial patterns of illness, including digestive issues, blood sugar tendencies, blood anomalies, and heart issues, and how to locate potential nervous system imbalances, spinal subluxations, circulatory disturbances, connective tissue weakness, and much, much more. Iridology is a fascinating art and science. Learning it will change the way you look at the human eye. If you're interested in learning iridology or have questions whether it's right for you or not, please send us an email or call and get started on your journey to transform the world.
All right, y'all, we are live from the Advanced Medicine Conference. I'm here with Nia Peoples, and we are going to get this thing started. This is a miracle, y'all. I'm going to switch this around and show you the Advanced Medicine Conference audience. Everybody, here we go.
Everybody say hi.
Say hi, you're on. All right, we are here. It's a miracle that we are here. We are all here. And you are a miracle. My name is Robert Scott Bell. I'm just kind of helping out. You might have heard of my show. Once in a while it's on 6 days a week, 2 hours plus a day. This is Nia Peoples. She's going to be emceeing. I want to thank as well the folks here at the hotel. We had to overcome a lot to be able to have this event, and you guys came not knowing if you would even be able to get in, which is really a testament to your
connection to the source of all sources, the spirit that moves us, that imbues us with life and love, that uplifts us and uplifts one another. I also want to give a shout out to all of those exhibitors. They came knowing that probably no one was going to be here, and they came anyway. So you can show your love over the week, the next 2 days for them, for showing up and being here with us. This is an extraordinary time. As we were talking to the hotel, and the governor here in North Carolina made a proclamation, they're trying to reopen North Carolina as we're trying to reopen America and allow spirit to flow. It was flowing even though a lot of people were in fear. And yet, with the information about religious meetings were being opened up, and meetings related to health and safety, interestingly, were being opened up, and there was an interpretation that we could not be in those rooms. They set up 10 chairs per room. And we talked about how can we get this done? How can it be possible? And it was very easy to dive into the anger band and be very upset about everything that's going on, because there's a lot to be upset about, there is. But quite honestly, the extraordinary thing that happened is we opened up our hearts, our mind, and let the spirit to flow. And in that, creative, imaginative perspectives open up, possibilities appear where they weren't moments before. And we are here together, and we're going to be streaming to the whole world a message of what I call health, freedom, and healing liberty, and advanced medicine, and bringing the power to heal back where it belongs with each and every one of you, me even, yes, Nia Peoples even. And it's the mission is that Dr. Buttar has set up through advanced medicine. It is quite extraordinary. It's changing the world not by force, but by love.
Yes. Amen.
We don't need to beat anybody up. When they see how wonderful and how warm the water is, they're going to be coming on over going, I want that. I want what you guys have. I see your smiles. I see the light pouring out of your eyes. And I appreciate so much of your patience and flexibility to go, is this even happening? We're coming. We're going. We're going to be here. And this is where the miracles occur. When you listen to the voice of Spirit, however it speaks to you, because it speaks to us in many different languages, it's unlimited. We're the ones that are limited. Sometimes we just got to get out of our own way, right? And that's what advanced medicine is also about, removing the obstacles to cure, to healing, to the reality that we are extraordinary spiritual beings having human experiences, yes? Amen on that. And as the AV team amazingly asked to do something at the last moment that's not possible, and we're making it possible. Eventually, we'll have probably more microphones, more interaction, and I know there are also a lot of super VIPs that have just, that help to, to support this economically, and we appreciate your flexibility and understanding. This is, again, a miracle that this event is happening, really, at this time. And it's going to be an example that will reverberate around the world. And again, in love, not in force, in love. So with that, I don't know if we're ready to get started. Nia is going to be our official. We say that? Can you be an official?
I'm so non-official.
She's so not official. You'll get to know her. She's wonderful. We'll MC and introduce folks, and anything we can do to help and support. But again, give the love, even if there's misunderstandings happening out there as people are operating in fear right now. We can dissolve it with the love. And that's the way we want to be this weekend. So thank you all for being here. The blessings are abundant, and you are a big part of them. So, Nia, you ready to come on up?
If they're ready. I'm not sure if they're ready.
Let's just double check before I turn it over. We got our first speaker set up. Is he ready? Going to be? Where is he? Is that the guy, Dr. Buttar? Or who's going to join us first?
Taylor. Dr. James Taylor. Where is he?
Right now, audio-visual has some challenges to make sure.
So we're not ready to stream out to the world yet?
We already start streaming, but they need to do it in here. So we're going to have like six, 8 people in here.
Okay.
The speaker's not talking to a blank wall.
So the speaker's actually appearing in here. We're going to see it on this here. Right.
Eventually, hopefully by lunch, we'll be able to just transition.
Okay, the transition will be slow. So the first speaker will appear in virtual reality. We sort of know that they're here, but you're not really sure. Right? And the live stream you will catch later as well, but if you miss anything, don't worry about it. And I'll be your cartoon entertainment. I try to be intimidating, it doesn't work. So, Nia, do you want to just share impromptu anything?
Sure.
I'm so grateful that you're here with us as well. Thank you. Nia Peoples.
This is incredible. by the people that are here. You know, I mean, when you think about it, we're all here because we know that there's more than what we can see with our eyes and what we can touch with our hands. We know that we are more than that, and that we are an organism in a much larger organism, and that we're connected by this thing that cannot be even explained. But with all just the commitment that these doctors and these scientists have to kind of figure it out, and to step back from the conventional ways of thinking to go, wait a second, we naturally work in a certain way, and it's based in that frequency of love. Let's move from that space so that everything is in alignment with that. And so with them doing all that work, think about, I mean, you guys are like, but I'm an actress and I'm an author, and I don't have, I quit university, but I have a calling that brought me here. The way that your calling brought you here. And that you were bold enough to step on that knowing is extraordinary to me. And this is the courage that everybody needs. And so I just want to say thank you so much for having the courage to listen to that which is calling you from within, because we already know everything in here. And all these amazing doctors are reminding us of that. And in our willingness to step in what we know to be true from inside, we are encouraging others to do the same. That's it. By the way that we move, the momentum of our movement is how we're changing the world, step by step. And I feel the love here. You know, I feel it. I don't feel a pushback. I feel you guys having compassion for the people who are working in this hotel, the people who are owning the hotel, the governor, that all these people, I feel the compassion that you have, that everybody's trying to figure it out. And from that compassion, again, we come back to love. And we move so that every word we speak and every step we take is rooted in love. And that's what binds us together. And so I'm so grateful that you guys are here. Thank you for having the courage to be all of everything that you are, because you are changing the world with that. So, yay!
Yay! Beautiful. Thank you.
So I believe we are in that phase of moving from fear to love, quite honestly. And it's a struggle for many of us. You're here, it says you've overcome a lot of those struggles, but we're still here in human bodies. As long as we're here in human bodies, we will have some times where it won't be so joyous. But the need to come together in, I will say it, worship. This is a spiritual gathering, and there are many different religious beliefs and views and memberships and non-memberships. But look at us. Is there really that much of a distinction when it comes down to that basic premise of our divinity? And I found it interesting. Obviously I do this show all the time, and it's for my own health. People think it's for their health. No, it's for my health. I do my show so I can be healthy, just to let it all out and get it off my chest. But as I observed this idea, and I've been speaking on, we're ready. Okay, so I'm going to get back to that. I'll be speaking officially tomorrow, so we're ready. Who's up first? Nia's going to let everybody know. Are you ready?
I have to go.
We got to introduce in there. All right, so Nia's going to go in there. Give me this signal, and then we'll turn it over. It should appear up here, yes? Okay. Okay, so Nia's going to come up and introduce our first speaker. It'll be right here. Right? You're going to be working out today. Anyway, the whole idea is moving beyond this ability or this programming that is happening from outside of us to get the message from within that says we are here to love one another, support one another, uplift one another. And I'm just so honored that we could be here together to do that very thing. And just be that example. Even if you feel a little anxious or angry from time to time, remember the reason why we have come together. In praise and worship of our very lives and gratitude for these very lives that we have. So, as soon as we see that Nia's up there, I'll turn it over. And again, thank you. Indulging for the patience. No? They're ready to go now. All right, we'll take it away. Advanced Medicine Conferences, get ready to rock the health world right now around the world. Thank you, guys. Tune into the Advanced Medicine Conference stream.
To our beautiful city, the Queen City of Charlotte. And also welcome you to our great city.
That was pretty wild there. Super Don, what's your impressions of that? I mean, I lived it. Now I'm seeing it for the first time, really, all the way through that opening. And wow, dude.
What can you say?
That was crazy.
I can't imagine what it was like being there and experiencing that firsthand, but even being able just to watch that and see it unfold, that's just a huge victory, man.
From the jaws of defeat, right? We came out.
I mean, that could have been a complete train wreck. It really could have.
Yeah, and then I think right after the first speaker or so, they were able to transition, and so Bruce Lipton was able to be out in front of everybody, and that was so important. He loves that, and it just rolled on from there.
And the energy, you could just feel it. I mean, in the various, live videos that I got to see of what was going on there, you could just sense the energy that had been built throughout the experience in the crowd with what they had experienced and stuff like that. It looked like it was a really good experience.
Yeah, now I can sort of understand, and that was just one of many clips that people had throughout the weekend. Seeing that, if you weren't there, going, oh my, when we scanned the crowd to see everybody sitting there, to kind of have that. I was there, but for people not there, seeing that, wow, people are really together and they're not afraid of one another. And it's just still a bit surreal to think that we had to see that to remember that not long ago that was, dare I say, normal, right? Nobody thought anything weird about being outside without a mask. And yet we do hear of people that I've seen videos of people in certain little stores or grocery stores or such screaming until certain people that don't have masks on leave the facility. And I'm talking not the management, but customers themselves that are wearing masks that are so afraid. My experience, I was there. I called I have family there in Charlotte on in-law side, and was hoping to say hello and see them, maybe grab dinner the final night out there. And I got a text message later before we had planned from the morning later in the day to say, we can't do it because you've been around too many people, you've been traveling, and we're concerned for our mother. And, look, what am I going to do? I just blessed the situation. I said, no problem. I don't want to create any discord or fear. So I was faced with that, because one of the questions of the day later will be probably about the divisions that have been created because of those that are living in fear, not rooted in science. Unless you're looking at the science of Luciferianism, because that's the science of fear. How do we control you and manipulate you through fear? Because it's not science. Check out this first official story of the Robert Scott Bell Show today from Yahoo Finance, Bloomberg. The pandemic is exposing the limits of science. What are the limits of science? I mean, I thought there are no limits. I thought science is infallible. Right? Science says. How often do you hear that from a skeptic? Well, the science says. Or the mainstream media. The science says. Or Tony Fauci. Or the World Health Organization. Or the CDC. The science says, as if all reality emanates from the science says and what the science says. So that your experience is not valid or real until the science says so. It just reminds me of being a kid and playing the old show, the game Simon Says, right? Simon says, you do it. And then do this, and you do it. Oh, Simon didn't say. I often wonder now, was that part of the programming of teaching children in government indoctrination centers to learn how to obey orders and not question them? And don't do anything unless Simon says. And we're not talking Simon Cowell. We're talking about the officials in any government agency or scientific intelligentsia or anybody with a medical degree. Too stupid, apparently, to use the sense that God gave them. One of the things that, I really just had a great time talking with Professor Bruce Lipton, again, an old friend, and we had a great time together. And he taught in medical school many years. He would teach medical students in medical school. He's a PhD molecular biologist. He would teach them. And he said they only were capable, for the most part, with rare exception, to wrote what they remembered. So he tried to teach them differently, give them a test where they were actually engaged in critical thinking. And he would tell them, the test is going to be on the things on this page. They didn't get it. And then he said, all right, check this page and then link them together and the test will be on that. They didn't get it. Unless you told them exactly what they were supposed to remember, they didn't get it. Which tells you just about all you need to know for the vast majority of medical doctors out there. They are not smarter than you. They are just more capable of being programmed, and they're really good at memorization of facts, perhaps, as they know them at that point in time. But as we know, facts change. Science shifts, and shift happens all of the time in the scientific realm. So what do we know about pandemic? How is it exposing the limits of science, Super Don? Well, you can help me out here. What is it doing to expose the limits of science? Is there anything that any of us can take away from this that the mainstream media can't hide about the limits of science?
There is no limit on science. Science is never wrong. Science doesn't make mistakes. It's self-correcting. So I don't know what you're talking about.
What are you saying?
You're a quack. I'm sorry.
This is from Bloomberg Science.
I got to call you
Finance.
names now and block you on Twitter.
So your skeptic response is just that they cannot handle this level of truth, can they?
Well, I mean, of course, there's limits to science. It's very easy, and I've fallen into this. I think everybody has at some point or another, where you just make a lot of assumptions about science, right? You're just like, oh man, come on. We got walking, talking robots and AI and all that stuff. Man, we could do anything. We can accomplish anything. We could do all kinds of stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And then it takes something like this thing that we're going through now. Mm-hmm. And then suddenly you realize that science is not this all-powerful, all-knowing, end-all wizard of magic and wonderment. And that really, what is science? Science is what man has what he thinks he's figured out. I mean, that's pretty much what I think we know, and this is what we think it is. A lot of stuff that we call fact when it comes to science is just guesses, right?
Yeah.
It's just it's a hypothesis, and because we haven't proved it wrong yet, we'll just assume it's right.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's it. Man is only as smart as man can be, and unfortunately, when it comes to brains, quite often, especially when it comes to science, and this isn't a knock on. I mean, look, I love science. Science is great. Without the advancements that we have had in science, we would still be living in caves. Okay. I mean, look, it's true that science is not a bad thing. And it's not like we're like anti-science or something, which a lot of people would accuse us of. They would say, oh, you're anti-science.
Super.
No, we disagree, but that doesn't mean that we're anti-science. Scientists are supposed to disagree.
What are you missing here? And I know you're missing it, not because you missed it, just you didn't say it yet. How much of the science in the era of COVID crazy has conflicted with other science itself? Yeah, exactly.
Itself. Yeah. Even from the same place. Even the CDC has contradicted itself since the beginning of this thing.
Which isn't that our point over the years of doing this show? That you think something is valid and it's defined and it's definitive and it stops. This is it. This is science. Don't question it. You question it, you're anti-science. And then something comes along and goes, well, that supplanted what you thought was science. Well, it was, but we abandoned that because, as you said, Super, that's self-corrected. No, it didn't self-correct. They were wrong.
No, but that's what they would say.
Of course they would say.
Not that we were wrong.
They were wrong.
This was what the information we had at the time.
They were wrong.
This was the model that we put together that was based on the assumptions.
They were wrong.
That we were only able to make at that time. And so in the effort of trying to be safe than sorry, we had to take the steps that we did. We're glad that we were wrong. See, it's a good thing that we were wrong. Because had we been right, it would have been way worse.
Arthur Fonzarelli.
Than it is right now.
Can you say you were wrong?
No.
Right.
Can I say no? I would be able to say I was wrong.
Fonzie, remember that?
Can science?
Or they jumped the shark.
I know. He couldn't do it.
Yes.
He couldn't say no. He couldn't say he was wrong, and he couldn't say the word love. Remember that?
Oh, love. Yeah. Yeah.
You
You know, there was one point, one of the speakers, Lois Laney, was that her name? I met her for the first time. She was kind of cool. She was very pragmatic and practical. And I, you know, in my lecture,
fake name, by the way.
I don't know if it's a stage name.
Come on.
I don't know. I could be remembering it wrong. I'm tired. You gotta cut me some slack today. Cut me some slack today.
All right.
But
It's
she,
a real name. I don't know.
you know, I talked about the power of no. I said your 2-year-old could teach you a lot about what you could be doing in this circumstance. And then apparently she talked about how to say no, like the no, 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 with like emphatics. And it was really cool. It was fun in the midst of that. Although I'm blitzed out tired, so I don't remember all the details again. Apologize for that. But science competing with science, overturning science, invalidating science, showing you the fallacy of relying on science as religion, once again, as an infallible religious dogma, which is where the skeptics and many people who are worshiping under the guise that they are right about COVID-19, they've been right about it from the beginning, and all we've been doing is consistently questioning their statements of claiming to be valid and correct, etc. Along the way, we kept asking questions that we're not allowed to be asked, and now, you know, if you even talk about certain things, question certain things, you will be banned in the electronic town square, which tells you how up for scientific engagement and debate they are. They are not at all. But here in this article, they can't run from it. They can't hide from it. You look at all the pronouncements, the projections based on science, and you now see, or should see, if you have the eyes to see, that what is known as science has become sci-fiantism. Sci-fiantism. Liam Sheff used to call it that, in addition to others that know scientism. A religious cult-like devotion to whatever is declared the official story, coming from people with MDs and PhDs, medical degrees, and piled higher and deeper. And so there you have it. The limits are right in front of your eyes. The question is, you see it. That's not a question. I think you do. But the struggle is your family members and your friends might not see it. And so what are we to do with this? I think it is a mass shift in consciousness, Super Don. It doesn't happen all at once, and then suddenly it does. And they all go, oh my gosh. They pushed a little bit too hard on this one, folks, and it woke people up. More people than they had counted upon, or they're in their desperation. They didn't consider it at all. Super D, this question for you as we get to the top of the hour.
Mm-hmm.
Have you encountered anybody that has woken up from their slumber because of what they have witnessed and the shifting sands of science that are being revealed day by day by day?
In this current situation that we're in?
Yes.
I would have to leave my house to do that.
Really?
But
yeah, you don't leave your house. That's true.
Personally, no, because I don't really.
I don't get out much.
Contact with people personally. Fortunately, with people around me, with my family, and
they're for the most part with you. Yeah.
We're all pretty much on the same page.
So let me put it out to you all out there. You know who you are, listening to the Robert Scott Bell Show right now. Have you, because I know there's going to be stories that, like I experienced one, of family members that have not woken up, that are entrenched in that fear even deeper. Have you witnessed people turn the corner because of what this first article is saying? Science defeating science, overturning science, showing, yeah. You follow me here? Or are they just so dizzied that they can't think straight? I'd like to hear. Message us. If you're watching the Robert Scott Bell Show, either on Periscope or Facebook Live or YouTube. I could see it on YouTube. Super Don monitors the other chat rooms. Or you could submit a story, a comment to robertscottbell.com. And with that, I'm so far behind on stories, which I figured I would be, but it's okay, I know. But there's good stuff Super Don found today. It's in the show notes at robertscottbell.com. I urge you to check on it. Please sign up for email alerts if you're new to the show. You can subscribe to us on YouTube, but we don't know if our days are numbered on YouTube. We've seen the censorship climb. But those social media platforms, including those video platforms, there's a limit to what they can do in terms of censorship before the people just abandon it. And they depend on you and me to participate in order for their economic viability. So at a certain point, we could # walk away from YouTube, hashtag walk away from Facebook, hashtag walk away from Twitter. But we will utilize them for all that they're worth while we can, and that is why I'd urge you to come back to robertscottbell.com, sign up for email alerts, and we're going to tell you also about a webinar that we're going to do this coming Thursday. I think that's 2 days from now. We're going to send out a message, an email message, so you want to be signed up and get ready for that. That's going to be an amazing webinar on molecular hydrogen. Going deep diving, y'all. Deep diving into the molecular hydrogen water. You're going to love it. All right, with that, I'm going to take a break. Be back with more powerful healing on the Robert Scott Bell Show, because the power to heal is yours.
The Robert Scott Bell Show. The Robert Scott Bell Show.
Have you ever watched a movie with superheroes and villains? If so, you already understand the science of drinking hydrogen-enriched water and how to unlock true health. Allow me to explain. In our bodies, we have a natural struggle between superheroes and villains, with molecular hydrogen being the superhero and oxidative stress the villain. So how does knowing that give you the tools to unlock true health? Your body is naturally designed to fight oxidative stress through specific bacteria in the gut that creates hydrogen on their own. Pretty awesome, right? So why does this matter? Well, in most people, the hydrogen-creating bacteria is gone, and cancer and disease soon follow. So the real question is, why aren't we trying to fix this every day? Well, the answer is simple. It's hard. Even the most healthy of individuals who biohack take months or years to achieve this balance. But how do we get there without taking months or even years? After years of study and development, we discovered and designed the perfect technology that made it all possible. We call this technology Echo H2 water. Within minutes of drinking hydrogen-rich water from our Echo Hydrogen water machines, you are back in control, balanced, and feeling amazingly hydrated and healthy. Having your own Echo Hydrogen water machine is kinda like having your own team of superheroes on call, always available to fight the villains in your body. Pretty cool, right? But don't just take our word for it. Get your Echo H2 water machine today and quickly bring your body into balance with hydrogen.
The Robert Scott Bell Show.
I listen to get accurate, up-to-date information.
I've learned so much from him.
It is awesome. It's the best entertainment that I've found.
You rock the health world. Keep it up. I love you.
Now, the voice of health, freedom, and liberty, here's Robert Scott Bell.
All right, y'all, I think we're back. Yeah, we are. Hey, hour 2 begins. How did I get through hour 1? With a little bit of help from Super Don. And, of course, playing a 10-minute video didn't hurt at all. That was the first time I saw that, other than the 30 seconds that opened it. I had not actually witnessed what I had opened with Nia there, which was great. And, by the way, Nia, we did the Sunday show, and we talked about her coloring book. Not coloring book. See, I'm losing my mind. Kids' children's book, The Little Apple Tree.
Yeah.
And it's great. I've only skimmed it, but, dude, it's so cool to have a book for kids that is not a collectivist, communist manifesto for kids. This, acknowledges individual liberty, individual gifts, and like that. Love Nia. She's terrific. So that's going on there. Let's see. Did you say there was a comment that came through that I missed?
Yeah, this kind of jumped out at me. You posted the live video from the Advanced Medicine Conference on our Facebook page.
Okay.
And there was a listener or viewer or Facebook follower or whatever, Mary.
Oh, I remember that one.
You remember this? And I thought this was interesting. I don't know. What did you think?
Can you read it for people that are listening?
It's a 2-parter. So Mary, she starts off, she says, "Sorry, you used to have good health info, but now sidetracked. What is the big deal if a mask might decrease some transmission? Get off your righteous political junk. It turns people away from your good health promotion info. A cloth mask does not harm most people, and some are excused." And then she follows that up with, "Robert Scott Bell, because you were talking about our liberty, our Constitution, our divinity, as if following public health recommendations is against our Constitution, against God. People are politicizing a public health issue as if it's taking away their freedom."
Well, Mary Ellie, I love you, but you're a moron.
No, oh come on.
No, I'm serious. No.
She doesn't.
No, I'm sorry. I
understand.
No,
I'm nice to Mary. No,
I'm not because I haven't had enough sleep. That's one. Okay, so you'll have to excuse me. But there was nothing political about talking about masks and the freedom not to wear them. In reality, it was about health. And the fact that if you look, and the medical community with us, scientists as well, acknowledge the danger the masks pose to the wearer. So it wasn't an attack on your precious political views, Mary Shelley Ellie. It wasn't. And I said that. If you want to wear a mask, nobody's stopping you. I'm not going to stop you. Just like vaccination. You want vaccines? Knock yourself out. You can have more because I'm not taking any. My family will give you ours. Now, I'm not saying Mary is a pro-vaccinate. I don't know. But I'm just a bit annoyed with the comment. And also because she's ignorant that public health is a legal fiction. It's a collectivist justification to rob you of your rights. It is. Don't tell me this is not robbing you of your rights. Don't tell me it doesn't violate the limits of government power. That's what I mean. We mean when we say it violates the Constitution. Do you believe, Mary Ellie, that the Constitution provides for the government to lock down and shut down whole economy? To keep you in your house based on what? Public health? What is public health? A legal fiction. And even if you believe it's science-based, what did we learn with our first official story of today? That science is very often wrong. We didn't even get into scientists and their conflict of interest, or the fact that they still could be considered a scientist if they were C or D level students and they graduated. But I don't want to pick on people with bad grades. That's not my intent in doing so. But I am a bit annoyed with the question and the insinuation. Not that I could change your mind, and I'm going to attempt to, but I'm a bit cantankerous at the moment. After a good night's rest, I'll probably say, sorry, Mary Ellie, I didn't mean to offend you. But I'm never intending to offend anybody. But I disagree wholeheartedly with your assertion that I was somehow going political because we were talking about masks violating our rights. You have the freedom to wear one, but do I have the freedom not to? That is a fundamental violation of my individual liberty. The Constitution does not recognize something called collective rights because there are no such thing. But under public health, they get the excuse to do anything they want to you because, hey, it's for the greater good. That's a communist agenda. And if you're sacrificed or if your kid is sacrificed for the greater good, I don't think it's going to feel so good to you. Not even to me, because I don't wish that ill will on you or anybody you love. So, Super Don, there you go. Have at it. I've probably burned all my bridges right now just by doing that. You're muted, and I didn't mute you. Do you know you're muted? Can you hear me?
Sorry.
There you go. Go ahead.
I had a plane flying over, so I muted the microphone.
Anyway. You don't want me to yell at you.
No. So, Mary, Robert doesn't hate you.
No, I don't hate her.
You just
get you. Look, I
Mary,
need some leeway
today.
Look,
I think it was I appreciate the fact actually that she asked the question and she made the comment because it's a teachable moment. I mean, we've had a number of people over the years that have been like, why do you talk about politics? Why? This isn't political. Because there are some people, when it comes to health, all they want to do is how many twigs and how many berries do I eat to help with my, my gout or something.
You want that show? That's
not. Well,
I'm sorry.
But they're linked, and that's the thing. That's the other thing, because we were talking. What was it, last week or a week before when somebody asked on? I think it was on the AMA. They were asking about how we met and how I got involved in working on the show. And that was one of the other things that I was fascinated with about your show when I first heard it all those years ago. Was how you were connecting these dots between politics and health, because a lot of people don't understand that. Like I said, it's very two-dimensional. It's just like health show means we just talk about this is what you eat and here's how you exercise and that's it.
Yeah.
And what a lot of people miss is that if you don't look at the political side of this, then you're completely missing the boat on the fact that if you're not paying attention to what's going on with the government, with the agencies of the government, like the FDA and the CDC and the FTC and things of that nature, then those supplements over here that you only want to stare at, that you want to learn how to take for the things that you want to solve or your health, may not be there next week. They're going to be gone.
You're right. And that is the political side of this thing. And I've always linked the two, because how did we get to the state of disaster that we call healthcare in America? Not because we haven't embraced communism, but because we have. And in communism, there's a monopoly. The monopoly on force, of course, with most governments, is government. It's just used more brutally, overtly with communism. And we have a system of one form of medicine being legitimate and all others being delisted, so to speak, or attacked as quackery. That, and that's in the name of public health, Mary Ellie. We've eliminated your freedom to know about homeopathy, herbs, supplements, and what all of those things can do. Truthfully, honestly, even with scientific backing. Yes, we can disagree on the science and things, but you're gonna tune to a different show if you get upset with me when I talk politics. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm not even a card-carrying libertarian, although I lean more there than anything because I believe in freedom. And right now, Mary Ellie, the Democrats are the ones that are engaged in a fascist communist plot to destroy America via the forced injection of our children and adults because of Bill Gates' pharmaceutical fantasy, to track you and vaccinate you, to make sure you can't go anywhere without an artificial immune passport. Based on, guess what? The science that is wrong, and then something else comes to replace it, and something else, and on and on and on. And I don't worship there. By the way, shout out to Radio America USA Internet Radio Station, WRAMDB. He says, take them fascist, communist Nazis to the woodshed at RSB Media. No mercy, LOL. I would not be as gracious. So that's the talk radio side of me coming out, of course, our origin point in talk radio. I'm like, no more Mr. Nice Guy. You get me when I have 2 hours of sleep after a weekend of not sleeping much. This is what you're going to have to deal with. This is what Liam Sheff used to call punchy McStuffins when I get to this point. Some of you like it. Some of you are running away in terror right now. And I'll be back. I'll be back. All right. So from there we go to this. And I included this story in my lecture on Sunday. Open their economies. Pennsylvania, Georgia, Texas, and other states are doing the same. So what we're dealing with here is acknowledgement of the things that we have said from the very beginning. And we can do it. Barak Bashad. May the blessings be. Waiting. And we're back. Let me reconnect. Super Don's back. And there we went again, right as I'm getting to the good part.
We got glitches going on here or what?
Well, I think that there's some level of, you better pay attention to what's going on because we might not be able to broadcast this stuff out for a number of reasons. I don't know. But this article is devastating to the mainstream narrative that the CDC knows anything about what has just transpired or what is transpiring regarding COVID-19. It's absolutely destructive of their own narrative. And kudos to the Atlantic for covering this. They're conflating the results of what? The PCR, the RT-PCR, and the antibody tests. And it's not really a technical error. I mean, there's so much wrong with this. And, you know, what they don't want you to know is what I've been presenting, what John Rappaport has been presenting. And as I was about to say, it wasn't only mainstream people that were mad at us for pointing these things out. There were some of our friends who didn't hear my message that the tests are crap. And that's being polite and nice. I will say it again. The reverse transcriptase PCR test developed by Kary Mullis, Nobel Prize winning scientist, PhD level researcher, does not identify with any degree of accuracy, and that's an understatement, the acute infectious agent in any claimed infectious pandemic. It is not designed to do it. It can't do it. Even if it identifies the presence of something, and you might say, that's real, it identified the presence, it is not indicative of an active infection in any way, shape, or form because it is not quantitative. I've had people argue it is. It is not. There has never been a validation for quantitative analysis, much less a validation to tell you what it even means when an RT-PCR test comes up positive for, name it, in this case, COVID-19. They've never done the test to validate it with blind samples or double-blind samples that become unblinded to find out that this test was positive, this test was negative, and we over 1,000, 10,000, 20,000 people, and then you unblind them and find out, well, this one, based on what our perception of what a PCR means, this person should be near death's door, dead or on a ventilator. And this person who tested positive on PCR but barely should be just fine, maybe asymptomatic or maybe a sniffle. And this person who tested negative on the PCR should be absolute. And then they go back, unblind those people and find out indeed if that is the case. Or if the person you said should be dead didn't have any symptoms at all. Until they do that level of validation, you can't claim the mantle of science. You're just stating your belief in a test. And I would bring him back on to talk about it because he's a nice guy, and I don't know that he'd take this personally. But James Lyons Weiler debated a friend of this show, David Rasnick, who's also a PhD scientist out of Georgia Tech, developed protease-inhibiting drugs in the era of HIV, and then realized, my gosh, this HIV thing is a scam. The tests are not HIV tests. There is no standard. It has not been validated to this day. And there was a point in their discussion, and it was a pleasant thing for me to watch. Curtis Cost, it was kind of glitchy technically, but it's really fascinating because it was cordial. And I would be cordial with James as I was. I like him. I think he's a great guy. And he's engaged and willing to discuss these things. So this is not personal. But there was a point in that discussion where Raznick made the point. Did I say David Raznick? I think so. I hope I said that before. David Raznick, PhD. That he said the HIV test has never been validated to be an HIV test. Clearly, if you read the inserts on any HIV test even today in 2020, it will say this test has not been approved or it's not appropriate to be used as an exclusive test to diagnose the presence or absence of HIV or make a diagnosis of AIDS. So then what do? Well, you take another test, a Western blot, and you go, well, read the Western blot insert. This test is not designed to determine the presence or absence of HIV on its own or for a diagnosis of AIDS. So go to another one, same thing. And then they say, well, and by the way, your interpretation of the results is going to differ depending on what continent or what country you're in when the test is conducted. Some of them don't even use Western blot. I'm telling you, this is what we're talking about when science destroys science. And y'all get confused, but the confusion should lead to, I shall not trust science like it's a religion. To believe the dogma of the PhDs wearing their schmucks or frocks telling you what to believe. There's a lot of misinformation and disinformation, and they just plain get it wrong. A lot of the time. On very serious big issues that do not self-correct. They correct because of criticism, critique, reanalysis, conducting experiments again, or just plain questioning, hey, why wasn't it validated in the first place for this purpose? So at a certain point in that debate with Raznick and James, well, James says, just give me the test now. I'll validate it. He'll just say, it's validated. I mean, basically, if I got it wrong, James, I'm sorry. But that's the way it came across, that you would just go, well, it's validated, according to me. That is not how it works. That's not how any of this is. That's not how it works. So we're here again with the RT-PCR as a diagnosis for you got it. And then follow on with that with nonspecific cross-reactive antibody tests, same thing, in a sense on the back end saying you have an antibody for it or you don't. And what does that mean? Are you infectious? Have you had it and you're done with it and now you're safe to move about with an immunity passport because they check you for titers via their antibody tests? Or since it tests positive for antibodies if you had a cold last year, last week, or had a flu shot last year or last week, how many other things cause cross-reaction and false positives and false negatives? And how many questionnaires do they ask? Because I didn't even get to that with the HIV test, did I, this time? After you've done all the tests that are not HIV tests, then they say, here, answer these questions. Tell me about your lifestyle. Are you gay? Are you straight? Are you bisexual? Why does that matter? Well, if you're gay, it's definitely positive. That HIV test, we weren't sure. Now we know it's for sure. Are you single, black woman living in the inner city? Or a white, upwardly mobile suburban housewife? Why do you ask that? Well, because if you're black and in the inner city, we weren't sure. Now we're sure. It's positive. You have HIV. White suburban housewife? Oh, that was a false negative. How's that for racist tests? And in Africa, they didn't even have to give you the test. You just had 2 or 3 different ailments that were on the list. And it didn't matter. That's the way they do the COVID game, right? That's the point of this article, y'all. And I'm just a renegade homeopath radio media guy pointing this out. If I can do it, certainly a scientist could do it. Whatever you call a real scientist. Although somebody using the scientific method should be considered a scientist. They don't use the scientific method in vaccination. It's epidemiological outcomes that determine efficacy declarations. You didn't get it? No, it wasn't whether you got it or didn't get it. It's whether we could measure an antibody. And now they admit antibodies might not be the end all, be all, and the holy grail that we said they were in the era of COVID. Much less the absurdity of claiming you're HIV positive and you're going to die. If we can create a vaccine for you and make you HIV positive via vaccine, you're going to live. How stupid is that? Or is that too mean? Should I just say how moronic is that? So we go into this and realize that all of these numbers don't even mean anything because they have no standard. There's no definitive, this is what they mean. Everybody's coming with competing theories about what these tests mean. And then we find tests that don't even, well, here we go. CDC, what were we hearing about originally? Oh, it stays on surfaces for 80 years. Okay, I'm exaggerating a little bit. It's on there. We got to clean everything. Now we're going into hyperdrive, chlorinating everything, cleaning everything, bleaching everything. And now the CDC says it doesn't spread easily on surfaces. Which way do you have it? Shake hands, don't shake hands. Hug, don't hug. Kiss, don't kiss. Touch a surface, don't touch a surface. Which way you got it? And then we go to CDC tests. Here's an article from the Business Insider. It is unclear why quality control did not detect this issue. Early CDC tests couldn't distinguish between the coronavirus and, no, not a pawpaw, not a goat, not a horse, but water. I am exaggerating not. That is the headline. They can't figure it out. Why did quality control not figure out that the CDC tests that came out originally couldn't even tell the difference between coronavirus and water? Much less a pawpaw and a goat. No wonder why in Tanzania they think this is a crock of you-know-what. And so months later now, guess who's proven to be correct? Those who were suspicious of the declarations of a new pandemic and an emergency that would cause us to shut down the world's economy, destroy people's lives and livelihood, and exaggerate grossly to the tune of 100% of all deaths claimed to be COVID, not one of them are validated. And I say this very distinctly, directly, and I challenge any scientist to prove me wrong. Show me the virus in the act of doing what they say happens in a COVID-19 patient, which seems to be unlimited. Is it a skin rash? Is it diarrhea? Is it feeling trepidation? Is it a cough? Is it a sniffle? Is it an oxygenation issue? Is it a lung issue? And why is it that the only people that they really can sort of say that died from COVID were on death's door with multiple comorbidities and many medications? And then those people who were claimed to have it were probably killed by the Herculean measures added to the previous toxicological pharmaceutical burden on their bodies to hasten their demise. And for that, we quarantine the healthy, even the semi-healthy, like never before in history. How stupid, malleable, and programmable are you? Or if you want me to be kinder and gentler, are we? Because they could dupe me too. Perhaps I was duped because I didn't come out as forcefully as I should have from the beginning to say, this is crap. Because I would have had to deal with the ire of my humble and lovable producer, Super Don, who said, come on, keep an open mind. Really? Should I have? I think I did. And my open mind was saying, this is not any different than anything else than what? Toxic pollution, drugs, deficiencies, etc., manifesting in a way that was predictable, just as AIDS, although they didn't have the name for it, was predictable among the homosexual population of the late 70s, early 80s, who were engaged in such debauchery that they just destroyed their immune systems by every means that they could. And within the medical circles, they were saying these people are going to have a massive immune collapse, but it had to be a virus, not the destruction of their immune system by their behaviors. Super Don, I turn it over to you, my brother. What did I miss? I'm doing this on no sleep, and so I can't be held liable for anything I say today.
Or anything that you say. You're doing great, man.
Oh, man.
You're doing great. You may not feel like it, but you're doing a great job.
You did great because you picked out stories that you knew could get me engaged despite my lack of sleep. I'm telling you, it's embarrassing.
It's not like I normally pick stories that you're going to suck at, but
you did extra good today.
Oh, all right.
So from Ooper to Super again.
All right.
Maybe Super Duper.
How about we take our bottom of the hour break?
Okay.
And when we come back, we've got some questions of the day we can tackle.
Okay. And if y'all want me to tackle anything that we don't know we want to tackle because you haven't asked it yet about these particular issues, because I think they're very important, and this is why they want to censor us and our friends, because we're pointing out the fallacies of their proclamations, their declarations, their religious edicts and dogma. No kidding. That's what they're doing. They can't handle it. That's like the Pope of old, the kings of old, the emperors. Don't criticize them. You find out who's in control when you find out who and what you can't criticize. All right. Get your key technology. Get your email. I was traveling with this, as you know. This was in my hotel room. It was up on my lectern when I was speaking. It was at the booth when I was there at the Advanced Medicine Conference, and a lot of people got it. Key Technologies, there's a link in my website. There's a banner to get you there and get you a special deal for Robert Scott Bell Show listeners, and we did the webinar on it last week. If you haven't watched it and you already signed up, go back and watch it before it goes away. And learn about it in about 2.5 minutes, and I'll be right back if I don't fall asleep.
Today, we live in an omnipresent cloud of charged particles emitted by electronic devices, electromagnetic fields, WLAN, and radio waves. These particles penetrate our bodies and heat the water in our body tissues. Recent scientific studies have shown that this particle flux not only heats the cells in our bodies as if we were in a microwave oven, but damages them as well. At Key Technologies, we want to protect you from the negative effects of such particles, so we have developed the Key Home Cell and other products. The Key Home Cell creates a protective field that works like a filter, intercepting any dangerous particles before they can enter your body. Here we have a partial look at the inner workings of the Key Home Cell. The Key Home Cell generates a charge exchange between the water tubes, thereby discharging free electrons and releasing them into the room. Within 24 hours, the Key Home Cell creates a torus field. The free electrons formed in the torus use their negative charge to bind to the positively charged harmful particles, thereby rendering them harmless to you. The torus field has an effective range of 16.4 feet above and below, and 24.6 feet around the device. The torus field created by the Key Home Cell is transmitted and provides you with protection through the walls of your home. Not only humans and animals are shielded from harmful radiation, but plants and food too. Whether mobile radio waves or WLAN, any particles that come within the torus field can no longer cause any harm to you or your family. The Key Home Cell provides you with all-around protection, allowing you to communicate with absolute peace of mind when using your cell phone or any other electronic devices. The Key Home Cell's free electrons are transmitted into the water through the torus field and repairing the water structure that was destroyed by radiation particles. Water regains its ideal vibrating hexagonal grid structure. The difference is easy to taste and can be proven with laboratory testing. This type of perfect hexagonal water structure is found in fresh spring and healing water and has also been seen in snowflakes. The same effect happens with our food, which also contains water. The Key Home Cell greatly reduces radiation exposure from cell phones, laptops, WLAN transmitters, mobile terminals, and other sources of radiation. The Key Home Cell drastically reduces the thermal stress on your body tissue. It is very fast and very easy. With the Key Home Cell, you will experience a new quality of well-being within your home and more life energy without any unhealthy exposure to radiation.
Can you tell that I've had it? I've had it with pussyfooting around the harsh reality that scientists and doctors and government officials and celebrities all got it wrong. Wrong. Every time you turn around, they have to redo the numbers because they were not what we were told. And yes, I was too... I don't know what the word is, Super Don. I was too forgiving of the possibility that there might be something new going on, having patterned this. And John Rappaport never for a second led with that. And I didn't believe that it was anything real. But at the same time, we were like, I think we were being responsible, were we not? Or maybe irresponsible for not standing our ground. Or maybe we would have been taken off the air long ago if we had stood our ground on what
listen, you're talking, okay, see, look. Yeah, you've always got to at least be willing to take a look at things objectively, unbiased to start, right?
Yeah.
You don't if you run into a situation, have already prejudged it, and you already know what it is that's going on, when you go into that situation, you're not going to see it clearly.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're going to potentially miss something to make a fool of yourself if you run into a situation like that. You've got to run into it first with no bias whatsoever, and be a critical thinker on the situation.
So you're defending the way we did approach it. Because I might not have a good perspective today, Super D. I'll admit that. The way I feel today.
I understand for being skeptical about things, but there's nothing wrong with that. A true skeptic, you may have a personal opinion about what you think something might be or something like that. But if you're going to truly be a critical thinker and be a true skeptic in the true meaning of the word, you've got to put that aside. Yeah. And you've got to go, okay, so let's look at all the information. Let's look at the whole situation. What are these people saying? What are those people saying? What does history, show? Let's get the facts. This is the reason why going into this thing, and going into pretty much anything that comes out in the news, any event that takes place, it's always the same. You got to wait. You got to wait weeks to find out really what it is that's going on, because there's too many people that are trying to rush. And then I've got the answer. I know what's going on, right?
Again, I asked, so you feel like we did well the way we did it? Because right now I'm feeling like,
I think so. Because I think we were objective. And, I try to, anytime that we talk about any story, I try and pull in all of the perspectives, right? You yell at me all the time for grabbing stories from CNN and stuff, right?
Yes.
And it's like, I guess you could use that as an example, right? It's like, CNN is all fake news. Well, no, they have had fake news. They've got a horrible reputation.
Well, I wonder why they're still in business. When I was at the airport this morning, I looked up at the screen. I'm like, why the hell are they playing CNN?
They're still doing CNN. Yeah. But anyway, so going into this, did it have all of the markings of the same thing that we've seen before? Yeah, it did. And so I think that's the reason why we had the perspective we did. But we backed that up with data and facts and science, right?
Sometimes it takes time, right, for these things to reveal themselves.
As you can see with some of the stories that we're covering today, where it's like 3 months ago it was the end of the freaking world, right? Millions of people are going to die, and everybody has to hide in a cave, for the next 6 months and stuff, because it's airborne. Well, maybe it's not airborne. It survives on surfaces for 3 weeks. Well, maybe it doesn't survive on surfaces at all. You're contagious for 3 weeks. Wait a minute. Maybe you're only contagious for 11 days. Everything has changed since January.
Yeah. And I had great talks with Del Bigtree this weekend. Del was at the Advanced Medicine Conference. Gave a great speech. He was more like a preacher man, emulating his father, who was a preacher, or maybe still is. And he didn't go into the science because we all were going into the science. All the lecture speakers, and he was like, you know what, I'm going a different direction. And I love Del for that. He senses the room and senses what. And we talked about. What?
It's funny that you mentioned that, because I remember seeing, it was at some rally, maybe it was the one in New Jersey, where he was out there talking, and he was channeling the inner preacher part of him that I think must be in his genetic code or something like that, when he was out there talking and stuff, because it literally was like a church sermon. The way that he was talking, I was just like, wow. I mean, he had the shaking voice, and I was just like, wow. This guy could be standing on the mountaintop with the stone tablets or something. I mean, it was really impressive,
dude. Yeah,
delivery.
And listen, we had really heart-to-heart discussions, over the weekend. Del and I love Del, what he's doing, and. He was equally effusive, if that's the word, of what I do. And, we do different things. We do the same thing. We do different things. But they do a show once a week, unless there is breaking news, they break in. But very high production standards, getting higher all the time. Amazing work. But intense. He's got a great team. Not nearly as large as, a real network television team, but still significant to put on a great show. But he was talking about that. If I had to do more than one day, we'd have to take the stories that we couldn't get to, but that would be a stretch. And then what? Because what kind of effort goes into the show on your end, Super Don, before I even turn on the mic. And we don't have near the production values. I mean, because we're a 2 hour a day plus 6 days a week, and we're not as slick visually, although we do some things visually we couldn't do before.
We're better than we used to be.
Oh, yeah. They're still, it was interesting because on Monday's show yesterday, the encore was from when we started doing video and we were doing Google Hangouts.
Right.
And I couldn't do picture-in-picture. So it was like you could only hear Super Don. You could only hear like Dr. Batar and my guests. So it was like a little bit of an interesting throwback. And I sort of liked it as a reminder of where we've been. So that if we have more opportunities to take a day off once in a while, to go back into those video archives, just because there's some good content there. And it's just, it's an interesting thing to see the transition. But I just want to let you all know, Del is a man of great integrity. He sees things much like I see things, where you have to weigh out how far you can go. Remember we talked about the guy that said you're talking out of two sides of your mouth. Remember that one? Mm-hmm. And it was great because he had the same issue with the exosomes, because he's confronting that as well, and he acknowledged exactly what I said. It's like if I do a show with that reality front and center for the entire show, the 90 percentile of the audience is zoned out. They have no frame of reference. It's so far beyond, even though I agree with that. And so we talked about a little bit about those issues as well, and even the guests, some of whom we share, others that he won't bring on, and I sometimes won't bring on because they have perspectives that are not validated. Or maybe we bring them on, but we're not going to go, yeah, I agree with that 100%. Like we brought on scientists and we point out what I perceive, Super Don, to be the holes perhaps, or the things that are left unproven, assertions or beliefs or suppositions, etc. So there are a lot of things like the Plandemic movie. Have we done a show about the Plandemic movie?
No, we have not yet.
So I asked. I know why we haven't, but why do you think we haven't?
Because I haven't booked Judy Mikovits yet.
No, but there's more than Mikovits in that movie.
Okay.
It's just
all right.
In general. But because there are definitive statements made that aren't fully vetted and validated.
You and I haven't really talked about that.
Well, I know, and I haven't said, oh my gosh, everybody's watching Plandemic. We need to do a show about the Plandemic movie, right? Now, we would risk getting banned because that thing has gotten a lot of folks banned. And I support the movie, don't get me wrong, but I don't agree that everything is definitive as they might state it. Right. And so it's just interesting as I was talking to Dell about this stuff. It's like we almost have the same mind in that regard. And I know there are folks out there saying, oh, controlled opposition. It's like, you know what, dude?
There are a lot of Sith lords
right
floating around even in the space that we're in that think in absolutes.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate.
Yeah. So folks, it's like the people that accuse me of hating on what is it, the Miracle Mineral Solution, MMS, chlorine dioxide, is it called? Just because I don't use it doesn't mean I disapprove of it or hate people that do or speak out again. I don't. I can do what that stuff does. I don't need it. That's my only point. People that do well with it, I'm happy that they do well with it. That's not my thing.
It is called health freedom.
Yep, exactly.
Right.
But again, if you're not like being a proponent of something, you're against, and it's true of like the skeptic that accused me of being all for that MMS stuff. And I said, I've never come out for it. I don't use it. I don't need it. Oh, but the fact that you didn't come out and say what I say about it. Well, of course, that's skeptic logic, which is lack of logic there.
And that's the one thing they always go to, 100%.
Yeah.
Every time is they'll just, you're support giving kids bleach enemas. What? When? What are you even talking about? When did we ever say anything about that? Right. But that's the thing they always go to.
They make stuff up that they want you to say, even if you don't.
We're all
say
running around throwing Clorox at kids or something, right?
Yeah. So I realize, and like I said, folks, I am cantankerous today. Some of you are enjoying it. Thank you for that. But I see the logical fallacies sometimes as good as Super Don, and when we talk about a lot of the things that we don't do. There are reasons a lot of times. Sometimes we just can't get to them, or if it's a guest we can't get, that could be the case as well. But I think Super Don, I know Super Don, we do our level best to get information out that is not delivered anywhere else, certainly not in this way with the perspective on it. Not to tell you what to believe, but hopefully to teach you a little bit how to think about these things. Because I asked these questions about the test today and in my lecture on Sunday it was, at the Advanced Medicine Conference, where hashtag We Opened America. Pretty amazing, huh? What's going on? So let's see. Where are we here in the sequence of things today? We're almost out of time. I know I haven't done all the stories you threw out there, but it's not surprising.
That's okay. That's all right.
Pandemic exposing limits of science. Yeah, we hit that. We didn't hit the vaccination trial catastrophe where 20%
Or do we want to get to the questions of the day?
Yeah, we probably need to do that. Merck joins the race for a corona vaccine, COVID passports, digital biometrics, right? Health. Let's see. CDC did tests. Corona on surfaces. I mentioned that. Early CD. Oh, I did better than I thought. I'm actually pleased with that, considering how I feel. So you'll help me with this one. So we're gonna do time now for, you know what? Watch this.
Excuse me. I'd like to ask you a few questions.
All right, question of the day time. This one is from Bill. Let's see if I can pull it up here. I heard Dr. Robert Scott Bell say that zinc and copper go together. I noticed that your zinc has no copper. I'm being smart.
Your zinc?
Yeah, it's not my zinc, but the zinc I recommend. Okay. I get it. Should I be taking some copper with the zinc? I asked Chris Barr, not a doc, to help answer your question. Below is his answer. Zinc without copper is only an issue if consuming large amounts of zinc, as in greater than 40 milligrams at a time. I have never recommended more than 1 megafood zinc daily. That is only 22.5 milligrams zinc. So, my question to you, according to Bill, is some nutritionists say yes to zinc and copper. Some say no. What say you? I don't have to say anything.
Let me refer you back to what Chris Barr said.
Yeah, Chris nailed it. It's exactly what my answer is. That we're dealing with a small dose of 100% whole food form of zinc once a day, which does not exceed the higher dose for those that are in that realm, that could upset the zinc-copper balance. And we'll get Morley Robbins on, perhaps if he wants to address that too soon.
I think we've got him on Friday this week.
Okay. Slacker couldn't come on today and help me out.
No, he couldn't.
Help a brother out. What you doing? Come on. So Friday. By then, I'll probably be all rested up and I won't need him. No, I want to get Morley on to talk about this stuff. But yeah, so the point is, and by the way, I'm doing bee pollen every day. I missed a couple of days when I was out of town. I didn't take the bee pollen with me. But that's my source of copper. I met a guy there, Super Don. I forget his name. He's a raw paleo guy. Raw paleo. So
raw paleo.
Right. So he had a thing. By the way, did you get that video you're working on? Did you find that yet? The video you're working to download? No, you forgot that. So anyway, he brings up this little container, opens a container, raw meat. So I take him over. I take him over to Dr. Batar's kids, because I've met people that do that and live. You know, I'm like, I said, how long you been doing this? 10 years. All right. So I said, kids, look at this.
What kind of meat was it?
I don't know if it was cow or goat or bison, but there's also other forms of internal organ meat, raw from animals, which he eats. And he picked one up, chewed it up, and swallowed it right before our eyes. And the kids that were there, they were older kids. They weren't like little kids. I said, this is raw paleo. You ever heard of that? No, never heard of that. He's been doing this for 10 years. He should be dead. That'll be a lesson to you for anybody that says doing that is impossible and deadly. Well, there's living proof. I'm not saying it's right for everybody, but this guy was thriving. 10 years on that. You think you know it all, and then you find somebody that shows you don't. That is the danger of being too smart for your britches, so to speak, or you're wearing your britches on your head. So, Bill, hopefully that helps your perspective.
I don't know what to think about the raw meat thing. That's like,
well, you don't need to think about it. The point is, this guy doing it for 10 years.
No, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
You know, but at the same time, George Burns smoked cigars until he died when he was 102 or something.
Yeah, so well, that's why I said it's not right for everybody. I'm not telling anybody to do it, but if you engage with someone like that, maybe just maybe we should risk putting him on the air to tell his story.
Maybe. I don't know.
Or would
man.
that be
That's
irresponsible? Because
it
somebody
might
might
be.
eat it, and yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Might be.
So anyway, I mentioned that as the things that you can learn about when you go out into the world without fear, without mask, and you talk to people, and you ask them questions, and you let them share their story, which is great. Because those are the official stories of individuals that are not to be discounted unless you find out they were lying. Of course, that's a different story. So, are you too busy working on this, or can you help me read the next long soliloquy question of the day?
What would you like me to do? You want me to do that?
Yeah.
Okay. The next question of the day starts out as a comment today. A good backstory here. Dear Robert, I am a nurse at a county jail, and I have been working throughout the flu scare.
Yeah.
Our jail houses approximately 1,300 inmates, and we have not had a single case. Some inmates have made claims to exposure, put in quarantine, tested, and have proved negative. We are only required to wear mask N95 if we come into direct contact with someone who is in quarantine or who has a definitive diagnosis of COVID-19. Otherwise, I don't wear one. Through listening to your program, I began taking selenium and sovereign silver daily, trying to get plenty of sleep, prayer, exercising when I can, and listening to programs such as yours, as well as catching some of Ty and Charlene's interviews. I have gained a tremendous amount of knowledge through all of this. The problem I am now having is with a sister of mine who I'm very close to and lives in the same town. She refuses to see me unless I am 6 feet away and wearing a mask. I tried it one time inside her house, and the homemade mask would not stay in place. My glasses kept fogging up, and I felt as if I was on another planet. I haven't been back since, and she says her husband views me as germ warfare due to where I work. The reason for my going in such detail is to paint a picture as to how the situation can divide families. I try not to come across as a know-it-all with her and listen to her side, but when I hear her describing it as a pandemic, when it's safe, I don't want to kill somebody. My patience quickly dwindles, and I respond with building your immune system. Not everyone is contagious, etc.
Yeah.
Any suggestions, Deborah?
Okay, here's my suggestion.
It's a tough one. What do
Deborah, you put a mask on because she's family for her sake.
Right.
But find one that's comfortable for you, that has silver in it. And then on the outside of the mask, I want you to do with a Sharpie, or you can do paint or colors, whatever. I want you to write
RobertScottBell.com.
No.
No? Oh, okay.
I want you to write. Did she say her name or sister?
Deborah. No, she didn't say it.
All right. Well, anyway, so just do this. Outside of the mask, I want you to write, "You are a moron." And then see how well that goes. Because they are. I'm sorry. And again, I say this with love. They're operating in fear. And so what happens in fear? You're in fight or flight. The blood flows from the brain and other areas of vital organ function to the extremities. Because you're running from the bear, you're running from the saber-toothed tiger, and you are not thinking clearly because you're in fear. We are not designed to live in fear constantly. And this COVID-19 scare is causing people to become more moronic than they already were in fear of germs that they can't see, proclamations and declarations from people with economic, philosophical, fundamental pharmaceutical conflicts of interest engaged in the robbery of the essence of your divinity. The spirit that would flow from you, they would rob it from you by covering your mouth, not letting you speak, not letting you breathe deeply and freely of the oxygen, the vital force that keeps you alive. And so I'll wake up tomorrow and go, oh my God, I can't believe what I said yesterday on the show. But this is how I'm feeling right now. And again, I love these people. I want you to love, and I'm just telling you, they will one day wake up from their fear-induced slumber where they have just become basically slaves to whatever governmental edicts sent them down whatever medical path that they were told to go down, resulting in some horrific things, including the worst-case scenario, which happens not overnight, whether it be Nazi Germany or other totalitarian regimes. This didn't happen overnight. And if we continue down this road, we will be living in a state of permanent terror and tyranny foisted upon us by a government far exceeding constitutional limitations, owned and controlled by the pharmaceutical industrial complex. Who's behind that? Well, if Bill Gates is putting his money down on WHO, you might say he might be related to some of them. Find out who he's connected to. So, Deborah, I don't know if that was helpful or annoying that I answered it that way, but I feel for you. Like I said, I had the experience with my own family saying, I don't want to see you because we're afraid. Look, I'm not here to make people feel worse. They're not watching or listening to this show anyway. And your sister is likely not watching or so you take it with whatever grain of whatever you want in this case. In the meantime, we're over time here. I'm going to take a break, and we'll be back with more of your questions and comments, any stories we need to wrap up on before I take a nap until tomorrow's show. So don't go anywhere. We got a little bit more coming up on the Robert Scott Bell Show, robertscottbell.com. Share it, and I appreciate you so very much. The power to heal is yours.
The Robert Scott Bell Show. The Robert Scott Bell Show.
Check out a sweet offer that my friends at Better Way Health give. This is an immune-boosting supplement that you can't get anywhere else.
Beta-glucan activates and enhances your immune response to invaders.
These things are brilliant for modulating the immune system.
Someone has a need for help in supporting their immune system, I'm looking at the glucan product.
It's amazing, and there's been an enormous amount of research done on this.
It's the most studied immunomodulator on Earth, with over 14,000 published studies referencing beta-glucan, and it's currently being tested in roughly 100 clinical trials.
If you like your dietary supplements with validated science, there's nothing that has more behind it than the beta-1 3D glucan from Better Way Health.
Probably the most heavily researched substances that I'm aware of that modulates the immune system.
It rebuilds your immune system.
Consistency and quality are everything.
Here, you want to see my supplement drawer? Here it is. Get ready.
I was putting together my research and I tripped on this supplement called beta-glucan.
There it is. It's very small. I take beta-glucans, immune booster.
You don't have to worry that you're overstimulating the immune system. We have been just amazed.
I take like 2 a day from Better Way Health.
It's been tested against about 36 other immune-boosting products and found to be superior.
If you have an immune system or you want one, beta-1 3D glucan, that transfer point is very unique. It's going to get the results that you're looking for. I support it and I use it.
Better Way Health, I got to tell you, you can spend more time, you can spend more money, but you cannot get better service than you're going to get from those guys down there. They are truly 24 karat.
The brand you want to get is called Transfer Point Beta-1 3D Glucan, and you can get it from betterwayhealth.com. Let's spread the message about beta-glucans. It's a powerful substance from nature that can help you.
All right. Robert Scott Bell eating my pierogi.
Oh, look at this. Oh my gosh, this is delectable.
We've got Paul Barretero, Key Technology, and the H2 Water. We've got Ty Bollinger eating my pierogi, ladies and gentlemen. And
wow,
food connoisseur Charlene Bollinger.
I grew up eating pierogies. I'm telling you what.
These are great.
Fantastic. I'm a big fan, and this is my favorite pierogi I ever had. Watch this.
Oh my gosh.
She's the pierogi spokesmodel.
Right. Jeez.
Ula, yay for Ula. Thank you, Ula.
You're welcome.
Happy belly already.
Yes, we love you.
Got another tea?
So our friend, our beloved Ula, is going to have a lot of requests to cater their bar mitzvah or their wedding with her authentic Polish or Russian pierogies. What were they? Yeah, I think the best review came from Charlene. Mine was very just emotive. If you saw him,
yes.
I could.
Yes.
And by the way, let me ask Ula this question because I know she's out there. We ate some, obviously, at lunch with you. Was it yesterday? It's like amazing. And then we took it back to the hotel, put it in the fridge overnight. Then we took it back out again, and it traveled with me, next to me the whole time on the plane. And we brought it home, and it's in the fridge again. Do you think it would be safe to heat it up and then add sour cream to it like you said? Or would I not be able to do the show tomorrow because I would be poisoned?
Just do like guys do.
What?
My wife always, because, you know, we'll have food, and like a couple days later, she's just like, you need to get rid of that. Me, I'll just take it out.
Yeah. Oh, they smell good.
No problem.
They
man.
smell good.
A week later, I'm pulling stuff out of the fridge. I'm, you know, just throw a little something on it, mix it up. It's good.
Okay. So I got the word from Ula, and she's tough. She says heat it up in the pan and
There you
eat
go.
it. It should be okay. Heat it and eat it. I'm going to do it, Ula, and I'm going to introduce my wife and kids to your Russian pierogies, and they were great. Although I don't know about the chocolate thing you sent me. I was reading that. I'm like, what were you trying to do to me? Were you secretly buttering me up and sucker punching me with something that you know I couldn't eat? What was that? Get back to me on that. Ula, we love you. You were amazing. Your whole family, Mark, the kids. And thank you so much for going out of your way this weekend to come see us and to give us the nice gifts and the food. Oh, my gosh. We went to a farm-to-table restaurant last night, Super Don, with after I did that long walk with did I already say I went on a long walk with I now, like I said, this is the point where I am fading fast, so we're not going to do a super long thing. But Nia Peoples, right?
Mm-hmm.
She got back she went to Dr. Batar's clinic, and a bunch of people toured it, came back. She's texting me, I just got back. You want to go for a walk? I'm like, it was middle of the afternoon. Yeah, let's go for a walk. I had already done my sprints in the morning, and my legs were a little sore because I was doing 2 days of sprints and things and jumping jacks and all that fun stuff on the road, best I could do. So we went out, took a right, and went down busy street on the sidewalk a long way, probably about a mile and a half. Found this, what do they call it, frisbee golf or disc golf? The courses, you know, you've seen these things where they use little discs. Frisbee is a brand name, I know, but discs, and you throw it into like a metal thing, and that's like golf, right? And it was in a ravine and in the woods.
Yeah, I've been to one of those before.
Dude, it was a hard course. If I wouldn't play it, it would be going into places I wouldn't want to go get. I'd say, well, that disc is history.
No.
So we had a great walk, came back. So it was a really nice, to balance out all the intensity of the weekend, to come back on Memorial Day and have a day off. I feel so blessed. And thank you for the graciousness with which you met the archived Encore edition yesterday that Super Don picked. And it was a good one, too, because Vets for Cannabis and everything. That was a great choice of a show. So we had a nice walk. I don't even know what the point of that was. Where was? Oh, yeah, the dinner that night. So my buddy Paul, he had his sister in town with her two teenager kids, and they were great. And Marco, Nia's friend from Italy, Italia. I mean, this guy is Italia all the way. You want to talk about a stereotypical Italian guy? Looked it, walked it, talked it, smoked it, right? All of that. I'm Italiano, right? And apparently he was walking out there and was smoking and being on his phone like an Italian would do. And at a certain point, he apparently had passed somebody's home and stayed too long in front of their home, and the police were called. Like, who's this guy? It was a very funny story, but funny guy, really nice man. He's got some interesting technology patches that I'm going to get to, because this is a funny story if I can tell it right. We went to dinner. It was a place called Roosters. And apparently there's two locations. One of the locations was open, and they now allow sit-down, 50% capacity. We called up, and there was really nobody there. So they said it was really busy Friday, the first day, because everybody was like, novel. We can go out to a restaurant. Awesome. But Monday night, Memorial Day, people had probably already cooked out, whatever. And so we went there. It was a great meal, farm to table, organic quality. I feel so good. And they had, unlike the vegan restaurant earlier in the day, where you saw just now, that's where Ula met us with the pierogies. We had a lot of vegan stuff. It was really nice, but they wouldn't even let us order there. We had to call them up from the patio, and then they would bring the food out and put it on a table that they wouldn't, get near you on. I was like, okay. So, but this Roosters was great. It had great capacity. We were in there. We had a great dinner. And part of the dinner, this Italian guy, Marco, had this technology with this like holographic technology of these things that they would shoot. He would stick on people. And, you do this kind of test for balance. It did the balance test, and I was like way out of balance. And my muscles were sore from all of the walking and the running and all of that. So I was like, I can't hold steady. And then he stuck this thing on my chest, in between around my sternum, I think it was, and then on my back, C7, cervical 7. I know I'm getting somewhere, believe me. And then he did the test again, and man, I was rock solid in terms of he couldn't pull me over. So it was like, dude, I got grounded with whatever it was he was putting on me. And it was taped on me. I was like, oh, that's really cool. I feel great. Didn't think about it again. Continued the dinner. Got back to the hotel. Got into the room. And then I get a text from Nia. Nia Peoples texts me. Hey, are you stealing my little sticky things? I'm like, what are you talking about? Marco stuck these things on me. I wasn't even thinking about them. Yeah, those were mine. You mean he took them off of you to give them to me? I had no idea. I was already so blitzed out, tired that if that happened, which I don't have no reason to doubt, it was completely out of my mind. I said, oh, well, no, I didn't even know they were yours. She was like, you're trying to steal them. And so she came and got them, and it was just another funny aside of silly things that happen that we can laugh about. But I had no idea. I stole Nia People's property this weekend. That was stuck to her body. Now it's stuck to mine. Now she had to deal with it.
Live that one down.
No, I know. It's just crazy. Who would have predicted things like this? I never predicted stuff like this. This is so funny. Ula, we enjoyed seeing you so much. And Charlene and Paul and Ty, we all enjoy you so much and your family and your kindness for bringing us some good pierogies, which I'm going to have after the show today. Yeah, we're going to heat them up, and we have sour cream. So I'm going to do it the way you said I should do it.
There you go.
Anyway, so let's see. What else? What's the last thing? Go ahead.
The last thing?
I think there was one story that was a good story.
Yeah,
a positive
we don't have
story.
to cover that today if you don't want. We can just go back to it tomorrow.
Okay.
That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're good for today. So tomorrow we've got Ty Bollinger outside the box.
Yes.
And let me see if I make sure I'm not missing something here, because I know we've got some people this week.
Oh, while you're thinking about that, I want to ask anybody in the audience that was at the Advanced Medicine Conference that Saturday morning, before what you saw we played today, because that was when we were in, we got it, we're going, we're making this happen. I don't remember hardly anything of what I said when I was out there in the midst before Dr. Buttar came down and the story I told. Just whatever message came through, I got out of the way. I am curious about how that transpired. So if anybody has a link to somebody who got that on video, I wouldn't mind seeing that. I think everybody was sending it to info@drbuttar.com. But if you can send it to askrsb@gmail.com so Super Don can get a hold of it, maybe we could play that. Or I just it was really a historic moment, and it was quite extraordinary the things that happened to make that possible. And maybe I could even learn something from it. So that's why I asked that. So I'm sorry, Super D. Now go back to what you were thinking.
No, that's fine. I just want to take a quick look at the calendar. So we've got Ty Bollinger tomorrow.
Yeah.
On Thursday, we've got Jonathan Umord for Sacred Fire of Liberty. We've got John Hewlett from Cardio Miracle returning.
When?
On Thursday? Hour 2.
Okay, excellent.
Which I have been doing now for about a month.
Okay.
And so I've got a personal story to tell about that.
Okay.
And then we'll have Morley Robbins on Friday.
Yeah, and I want to get Lisa Hill back from the Silverite Pillow folks.
Sure. Yeah, she's been really busy. Last time we tried to get her on, she wasn't available.
Well, just message her and say, hey, let us know when your schedule opens up, because I've got some more things we want to talk about with that.
Yep.
What is Iman doing about an arthritic ankle? I can't follow all of these things. My gut integrity is getting better. My diet was awful, but now I'm eating a lot better. Oh, okay, making bone broth too. Yeah, gut health will help. Assimilation of the nutrients and things as well will help.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't talked to Mom since Mom was there, Mom?
Yeah,
it was a great reunion. I haven't seen her in a while, obviously living so far away, and it was so awesome. And I want to thank Sandra, her good best friend, for driving up to Charlotte from Atlanta to see us, and we had a great time. And people always enjoy Mom, so that was fun to see her as well. Let's see, anything else? All right, any other comments coming from either Facebook Live or the Periscope feed that you can see that I can't, or Twitch or any other methods people are watching?
Nope, don't see anything.
I still want to know what Ula was thinking with some of the chocolate she sent. I mean, don't want to, just wondering. She's always got she's scheming, right? She's scheming. It's Polish, right? It's a Polish thing, I think. She's got an angle. What's the angle? Oh, my gosh. And aren't we going to try and do a Zoom thing soon just for our Patreon supporters?
Yeah, let's get you rested up, and then we'll plan something here in the near future.
Okay. Well, I hope you guys, I know some of you guys and girls liked what I did today, being cantankerous and tired. And some of you are like, oh, my gosh. I can't believe what he just said. And again, he said it again. But over time, you're going to get many different sides of Robert Scott Bell. So, now she comes out and admits it. She's plotting to take over the show. That makes sense. Now it all makes sense. Which, by the way, I wouldn't mind if she guest hosted once. That would be fun. She'd lose her Polish cockiness fast then, I think. I could be surprised.
That could be an interesting show.
Yeah, it could be. So, any stories you got of healing, health, whatever, let me know, and we'll hopefully cover it. Anything else in the announcements and the notes, links? I mentioned that we have a webinar coming up. This suddenly, I found out we're going to be doing this today, so I'm glad I just even remembered it. So, if we go to the website, as soon as Super Don is able, you can put a banner link to it because we'll have the links to it. But you're also going to send an email.
If you guys want to get a head start on this here, I'm going to go to here. This is a Echo Water.
So those of you that really want to do a deep dive on molecular hydrogen,
coming up.
Your opportunity is coming up.
Thursday, I think it is, right?
Okay. Oh, look, you got a Cardio Miracle link now. I see in the website.
Oh, banner, yes, on the side.
Yeah, banner. But we'll have a webinar, a deep dive into molecular hydrogen on Thursday.
Hold on.
Okay.
Just for you guys, because you stuck around, you get to sign up for this. It's a free webinar on Thursday about the Echo Water. So, boom, there you go.
Did you put it out into all of them?
I did.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
Excellent.
So that's the link you want to click on.
That's it. I'm looking for it to pop up. Oh, it just popped up. I just saw it in real time. Everybody could see it with me. So, Super D, thanks for all that you do to help me prop me up in these times when I don't get any rest and I come back off of these trips. And thank you for that encore yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of the Advanced Medicine Mondays we used to do. So that was kind of a cool visit down memory lane.
Indeed.
And, so if you've had any questions, the Vitamin Masterclass is also, there's a lot going on, dude.
That is tonight, I think.
But that's like 5 or 6 days in a row or something?
8.
8 days.
I believe I saw 8.
You guys,
it's a magic number.
As long as you have the opportunity to do it, man, stuff your consciousness with good information.
Right?
Empowering information. There's a lot of cool stuff happening, and it's free.
There's
it's
no
just the time
shortage of
you commit.
information. I could load you up with even more if you think you can handle it. But
all right. I'm getting some votes to not sleep. People are going, no, we like you this way. Don't sleep. Oh, I need to sleep. I got to sleep.
The sleep deprivation show.
It is. It's dangerous, but other people like it. So it's like, choose your, I don't want to say poison, but let's see. Oh, send my wife the dates of the encore yesterday, if you don't mind, what date it came from. So she tracks all of the guests and the reruns and things for our database purposes. Yeah.
That was 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was from...
You think you're going to get away with not messaging her because you're saying it on the air?
No.
Yeah, I know what you're up to.
No, I didn't say that.
Yeah. No Juniper, the key device is not the same as the Orgone device.
It was 2 years ago. I guess I didn't put it on there. Anyway.
Yeah.
It
was Memorial Day 2018, was it not?
It was Memorial Day, Roger Martin, May 28th, 2018.
Yeah.
That's when it was.
Okay. My wife says it's okay. On air is fine. You're off the hook.
Okay.
She heard
May
it.
28th
Of 2018.
2018.
Yeah. Yep. Let's see. Some people forgot about the vitamin class. Is that banner is still up in the notes, isn't it? Every day? Vitamin class? Vitamin master class?
I don't think it made it in there today.
Okay, we need to keep these things in there as long as they're valid, and sign up for free. And that helps support us ultimately, too. It really does. So thank you all. All right, Super D, I made it.
Looks like we made it.
You know what? I'm going to use the pierogi as a pillow. That's probably what's going to happen. I'm going to eat it and fall into it.
A very tiny pillow, but it tastes good.
I have a tiny head, so
when you wake up, you can have a snack. There you go.
Especially, I need to shave so I don't have a beard where it'll get caught
It'll
up
be
in.
Stuck to your face.
Yeah, exactly. All right, y'all.
All right.
Great show. Thank you all. Love you. Appreciate you. Please share the show as you do. Help us spread the word. The word is getting out, but this is not a show that tells you what to do. Hopefully, it gets you to think about things in new ways and empowers you, not through fear, but through the recognition that the power to heal is yours.